Yeah, turn me up. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's the Keeping It Raw podcast. Back at you with another video on today. Make sure you guys hit that subscription button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so that you'll be notified whenever we put out an upload. And without further ado, let's go and get right into the installment. All right, guys, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions. And we're going to talk about what's really going on with the Lions. There's a lot of surface talk out there about what's going on with the Lions currently and why they're sliding and what is going on. Is it Jared Goff, his inconsistent play? Is it AG and not being able to call the right schemes for the defense? Or is it Brad Holmes not being able to get the right personnel in here? Well, I can say that it's all three of them. You know, you can say that Jared Goff is not playing well. You can say that AG is not scheming up the defense as well. The defense is, the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. They should be somewhere in the middle of the pack if they want to be a good playoff team and not get put out in the first round. That's if they don't drop the next 4 games, which they have a game coming up against the Broncos on Saturday. But at the same time, man, you got to think about what Brad Holmes is able to do. Yes, Brad Holmes has done a phenomenal job with the Detroit Lions, and I'm not here to bash Brad Holmes, but there are sometimes you have to be able to address the elephant in the room, and sometimes you have to be able to call a spade, and sometimes you have to be able to call it out and call it as you see it. And with me, myself, you know, watching the Lions for a long time, and wanting this team to be good, I got to call it out. The real problem with the Detroit Lions currently is that the draft picks that he has gotten on the defensive line has not been panning out. And if you don't believe me, you check the track record on all of these guys that's been on the defensive line. We've drafted the same position over year in and year out, over and over and over again. The Detroit Lions continue to fail at getting the adequate help on the defensive line, whether or not, regardless to Brad Holmes not even addressing the situation when the trade deadline came, because all you're trying to do is patch up holes with a Band-Aid and grabbing all these guys that can't really help you. The real problem is that the Detroit Lions guys are not panning out. Let's call it for what it is. Josh Pascal in and out of the lineup. James Houston hurt. Aiden Hutchinson can't get to the quarterback like he used to. Needs help. I don't want to put Aleem in it because he was having a phenomenal year, and he's been pretty solid for the Lions. And Hutch is a dog. No, Hutch is a dog, but he can't do it by himself. He needs other guys on that defensive line. The Okora brothers, where are they? Where are they? Where's Romeo and where's Julian? Where are they? Where's Charles Harris? Where's Broderick Martin? See, you see the problem is the inconsistency that Detroit don't have a pass rush. And this thing is going to expose you when you get into the playoffs because you're not going to be able to stop the run. Half of the teams, when they get into the playoffs, they run the ball more so than they pass the ball because they don't want to make too many mistakes. And you kind of want to eat up the clock with the run game. So you're not gonna pass as much. You will pass in the game, but it's gonna be relying more so on the run game. And the real problem is that Brad Holmes hasn't hit with the defensive line. Let's call it for what it is. Brad Holmes have not hit with the defensive line besides Aleem, McNeil, and Hutch. Everybody else that we've drafted They either hurt Levi, he's in and out of the lineup this year. Levi hasn't really played until this year. We drafted him a few seasons ago. Really haven't panned out. Josh Pascal really haven't panned out. None of these guys can get to the quarterback. Charles Harris, when he came over and got the deal from the Detroit Lions, 7 sacks in that season. Now can't even smell the stinky, nasty breath of the quarterback. He can't even smell the nasty, stinky breath of the quarterback. I gotta call it for what it is. I gotta keep it a hundo. I gotta keep it a buck with you. The Detroit Lions problem is this. Every time they draft players, they don't plan out to be either Pro Bowl caliber players. They don't end up being solid football players. They don't end up being good football players. So guess what? It's a revolving door, and you're drafting the same position over and over and over and over and over and over again. This is what the Detroit Lions are doing, guys. Wake up. Wake up out there, Detroit Lions fans. This is what the Lions are doing every single season. I'm tired of hearing the word culture fit. I ain't looking for a culture fit if I'm a GM. I'm looking for a dog. I'm looking for a werewolf. I'm looking for a silverback gorilla. That's what I'm looking for. I gotta call it for what it is, guys. I'm sorry, Brad. The guys that you've been drafting, they ain't panning out. There's no way that you should not be getting guys to be balling out for you, for this defense. Aaron Glenn does not have the personnel, even though the scheme that he's calling is not working as well. You can't be putting Jerry Jacobs on number 1 receivers because he's not that dude. He ain't that dude. Let's keep it real, guys. Jerry Jacobs is not that dude. He should not be trying to guard DJ Moore. Come on, man. Move Iffy back to the corner position. Take him off that safety position and move him back to the corner. Iffy was balling when he was at the corner position. He was playing well. He was staying with guys like Devontae Adams. Don't you remember, Lions fans? Don't you remember this? The real problem in Detroit is on that defensive line because you're failing to address it. You're just getting guys. We got a bunch of guys on the team. That's all we have. This thing is going to implode in your face when the playoffs come. If you get in the playoffs and you happen to host the first round game, you might get put out at your own place because you can't stop anybody. You have to be able to stop somebody. Defensively, you got to be able to shut the run down. You got to be able to get to the nasty, stinky breath of the quarterback. You got to get pressure on these QBs in the NFL. If you do not, they will torch you. Especially Detroit has problems with the mobile quarterback. We all know that. But the real problem is you got to call it out. Brad Holmes has not did well with the drafting of the defensive line. Let's call it out. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it raw. He has not. And I love Brad Holmes. I think he's done an excellent job with managing the books of the Detroit Lions. But you can't just be looking for culture fits, man. You got to be looking for dogs. I'm tired of hearing the word culture fit in Detroit. We're looking for guys that fit our culture. No. I'm not looking for a guy that's just going to be in the garden picking flowers all day. I'm looking for a dude that's going to rip your face mask off your helmet on Sundays. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that dude that's going to rip the shoulder pads off of you. I'm looking for that guy. The Detroit Lions are in a revolving door, and it's been with the defensive line ever since Sue has left this team. You better get it together, Detroit Lions. Because the real problem is the defensive line is a revolving door, and none of these guys are dogs. None of these guys are panning out. None of them. Subscribe to the channel because that's the real problem.